It dawned on me this morning that I wasn't going to do a video for stables this week because there's no racing, right? And as far as updating people, nothing has changed from last week except for the horses that will be leaving or potentially leaving. So I thought it would make sense to outline who they were, what horses I was thinking about, where they will be going, and ultimately why they are leaving. Somebody brought a very good point to me and said, Anthony, it's only 28 days, 27 as I speak in the car on Sunday, 26 tomorrow, so on and so forth. A number of these horses, can they not just wait? Now, some can. The problem I have is that nobody has said that 28 days is set in stone. Nobody has said on the 29th or the 28th day horse racing will begin again. Nobody has clarified anything, and I don't think anybody knows, right? When you go back and look at the literature from the government, whether it be the press releases or the writing, nothing says on the 29th day things will go. In fact, quite the opposite. It points to them examining the numbers. Now, I guess the first day of the lockdown, the cases went down today, a small amount, so they're just over 2,000 cases today in Ontario. Was that expected? Was there less testing? I have no idea. I do know this. So as many of you might know, if you watched the video of me from yesterday talking about where I came from, my childhood, my ascent, where my roots began and where they are now, and how I got to here, you'll note that I talked about a politician that before Tim Hudak, I believe I had mentioned it, who was the first person to ask me to join the PC party, and that was Lisa MacLeod. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but Lisa MacLeod had a very strong relationship with the Maritimes. She's from the Maritimes, and her uncle, who helped raise her, I believe, is very good friends with my father. I didn't know any of this at the time. It wasn't until much later when we discussed it. And just by happenstance, I retweeted a tweet that Jim Lawson from Woodbine had put out, virtually saying, listen, we're going to need, why can't horse racing continue if hockey can? So I echoed that and said, I would like to hear from Lisa MacLeod, at Lisa MacLeod, just some clarification as to why hockey is set to continue moving forward, yet horse racing, which is proven to be safe. We've had cases of COVID-19 I've said this before, we've had cases of COVID-19 at Woodbine, at Scioto, at Northfield, at other places. Jason had COVID-19, but there was zero residual cases from those cases. What I mean by that is Jason got COVID, but nobody around Jason got COVID, right? Somebody at Woodbine tested positive, but nobody else at Woodbine tested positive. So that proves the protocols in place work and work very well. So why can't horse racing continue? And looking at the big picture of things, why it can't. The optics of being safe have to be above all. Now, theoretically, if you really wanted to take that to the next level, there would be no hockey, right? So a little clarification was needed. This is 8:45 in the morning on a Sunday. I haven't spoke to Lisa MacLeod in 2 years, and not at any length since I left politics in 2014. My phone rings. It's Lisa MacLeod. This is a sitting minister in the PC government. Calls me at 8:45 in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, and we talk for half an hour. And she had said that she had saw the tweet that I had put out and just wanted to make sure that I knew that, one, this was a difficult decision. Two, the safety protocols put in place were above and beyond any expectations from the NHL. I'll get to another part of that in a minute. And thirdly, province-wide, the decisions are made from the health side, from the health department. And the health department had to sign off on the NHL and would have to sign off on anything else. The argument from our side was, from horse racing side, was all the jurisdictions around Ontario, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, they're all racing, even though they're on some sort of modified shutdown also, because horse racing has proven its worth and has proven its safety. Not to mention the economic clout that goes with it. Think of it. The people at Christmas time that are hurt the very most, the hardworking, everyday laborers of any province, state, or country, are the ones that need the money the most, right? That is the very fabric of horse racing. A lot of people live check to check. A lot of people are employed, but don't make a lot of money. And Christmas would have been especially difficult for them this year, me being one of them, if it wasn't for us being able to race. So, although you would think that economics wouldn't play a role in the safety of Ontario, we all know it does, right? Economics always has to play a role, and she was very cognitive and clear about that. At the same time, I got a real sense that the government's hands were kind of tied, I suppose. And I spoke to Jim Lawson via email and then via phone, and Jim's qualm was fair too. The concern was that there was special treatment given to the NHL, and the proof of that was that these special testing procedures were not made public. Allow us, and Jim's argument was fair, allow us to do the same. If you're saying that rapid testing needs to be done before anybody can enter a property or a dwelling, let us do rapid testing also. And I think he's got a fair point there, right? Nobody ever said what these tests were, and I certainly didn't want to push her on it. It's Sunday, and I was taken aback that she took the time to call me, and I was happy to catch up with her, but at the same time wanted to make sure that she understood that other jurisdictions around Ontario, it's not that any other place was hit less hard, or COVID's been easier on them. It's been difficult for everybody in a variation of ways, and horse racing has been pretty steadfast as far as its safety approach goes. In the general public. So, having said that, you're looking at a 28-day lockdown. You can't really litigate that. You can't argue that, because by the time you would ever get into the actual meat and bones of this argument, the 28-day lockdown would likely be over. So, my sense was they're going to stick to 28 days, and my comment to Mr. Lawson was simple. I think you should aim for 14. They are going to open up Northern Ontario in 14 days, and if the numbers start to trend positively, properly, I suspect they'll hold steadfast to their 28-day lockdown. But you need to make sure that they know along the way that Ontario racing has been safe from day one. Why don't you let us open on after the 14 days? That's a possibility. Whatever percentage, I would say it's low, but it's a possibility. But you have to make sure that when they say 28 days, rather than a full opening of the economy, we're going to have modified red zones. We need to make sure that we're on the forefront of that. Now, having said that, none of that is set in stone. So I have to look at what horses we have that can go other places, that could go other places, and horses like Yes, really, that need to go other places. I don't want to shut Yes down for 28 days when we just got him up and going, to try and push this horse towards his own top level. You can't have gaps in his schedule like that. It would take us forever to get him started back up properly. I think the way that he's progressed so far, those training and schooling miles at 56, then his qualifiers, now his races where he was third, then he was a winner in the Open at Flamborough, and then James just went for a ride with him the other night at Mohawk, trotted in 54. He's ready now to start stepping up, but with nowhere to race, it really pushes him right back to the back. So he's in to go Wednesday at the Meadows. Obviously, White Tiger and Oso Pine, Bottle of Red, those horses are already over there. They're going to continue to race there. So what else? Do we have other horses that should leave? Brave World, I believe, should be going, and he will be going. He'll be going to Northfield. There's a $25,000 claiming series or is it a $30,000 claiming series at Miami Valley next month. And then one of our clients, Larry, had just emailed me the registration for a $25,000 claiming series at the Poconos. And it's progressive, 25 up to 30 in February. So there's racing for Brave World first in Ohio, and if he does well and proves he can do in there and isn't claimed, then we can potentially send him to the Poconos. That's a possibility. Secondly, Jesse Balboa. Here's a horse just starting his career. We could shut him down. I don't think we have to. I mean, Rooney Blue Chip, he's got the 8-hole on Monday. I assume at some point we'll be able to move Rooney Blue Chip. When we do that, then that will open up the place. Think of what the horses we have ready right now. One My Heart Hanover is a PA bred. She can go to the Meadows as soon as she gets out of purgatory there in Shed Row 5. I would suspect that will take place on Tuesday. After Tuesday, she can leave and go to the Meadows with Tim. Next, as I said, Jesse Balboa. This is an Indiana bred. We have a number of Ontario breds getting ready, so there wouldn't be much point in keeping our Indiana 2-year-old here when we're going to need spots for our Ontario 2-year-old soon. So he should continue racing. We'll send him to Billy Rhodes in Ohio. You might say, why not to Pennsylvania? Because that's PA owned or bred, that bottom class where we were getting in before, and now there is going to be a backlog of horses to race there. We're simply not going to get raced, so it makes no sense in sending Jesse to Pennsylvania. We will send him to Ohio also, to likely to Northfield, I would say, to Billy Rhodes. Miss Brampton Beast, here's an Ontario bred 3-year-old, but she's not quite good enough to race in the straight. Now there's a 3 at Mohawk. We were looking for London and Flamborough, and potentially a little Mohawk throughout the winter. Now that's out. 28 days again, may not be 28 days, and she's ready to go right now. So there is a condition claimer, a 20 claimer, where her condition tag in the new year would be 28,000. I think 28,000 US is more than fair for Miss Brampton Beast, and Billy believes that particular class is a real good fit for her at Northfield Park, so she'll likely be going there. Off-Road Hanover, where do we send him? Here's a maiden, American-bred maiden, who was going to be racing, then got stuck in that Shedrow 5 fiasco. Now where do we go with him? If we can get clear of Rooney Blue Chip, we now have a spot for 2 maidens, and they usually ride 2 maidens a week at Northfield. Is that going to be Off-Road Hanover? Is that going to be potentially Italian Grit? I don't know yet. One of the two, maybe both, if there's enough room. Those 2 horses also are ready to go. One of them's qualified. Off-Road Hanover is qualified and ready to go, whereas Italian Grit is kind of close to being qualified and ready to go. Then we have Watch Avenue, Zeb Sunshine, 2 horses out of Kevin's barn. Kevin had them both ready to go. They looked great training the other day. Billy believes there's a spot for them in at Northfield Park also. Now, I don't want to load up on Northfield Park. There's not a lot of money to be made at Northfield Park, but at the same time, we got to get these horses racing. Pennsylvania might be tough to get them in. I'll talk to Tim a little more extensively about what our options are with a horse like Watch Avenue, Zeb Sunshine. Again, that non-winners of 2 class, if I'm not mistaken, and non-winners of 3 is PA owned or bred. Makes it difficult to get in, but I'll follow up on that. And then obviously, as I said, touched on earlier, One My Heart Hanover is PA bred. She'll be heading to Tim Twaddle as soon as we can get the blood work done. That still leaves Holy Chick, who qualified, right? She's ready to go. So she's an Ohio bred. Is there a spot for her? I don't know. I'm going to look at Dayton also. Miami Valley's opening up soon. What's on their condition sheet? How tough? Do they have a maiden? The one thing I hate is having to race against aged horses and they go in 57 or 56 when she's just not ready to. And the maiden trot shouldn't be going in 56. Used to at Mohawk or the Meadowlands, but certainly not at a Dayton or Miami Valley, certainly not Northfield Park. So there's another filly trying to get ready for her 2021 season. She needs the starts also and the experience. So we have horses that potentially could leave. Holy Chick, Off-Road Hanover, and Italian Grit. Their blood's going to be drawn this week at some point and put on the back burner. We have 30 days to make our mind up with those health papers where we send them. But horses that will be leaving, Brave World will be leaving. Jesse Balboa will likely be leaving this week. Miss Brampton Beast, Watch Avenue, One My Heart Hanover, and Zeb Sunshine. And then Kevin has 3 horses coming back in, so that'll fill that gap in his barn anyway, with Better's Hope, Adrenaline Rush, and Cyrus Blue Chip. I can't believe I remembered those 3. So that is what's going on with the racing this week. As I said, not much interest or use in talking about the stables. Nothing has changed for the most part this week. They're the same. The only movement would be in the list I just explained to you. We have a number of 3-year-olds coming back in from the farm now and over the next 10 to 15 days into the first part of the year. Our 2-year-olds our yearlings turning 2 will continue to train down, and our 2-year-olds, the ones that are close to being ready, will stay ready or move to other jurisdictions, and the ones that are getting close will be ready to go when hopefully this 28 days is staying right at 28 days. I really don't believe we'll be able to get back racing at the 14-day marker, but I think it's imperative that we get back racing at 28 days. So for the vast majority of our horses, they're not really going to be that affected by the lockdown, but for the horses that are racing, the race horses, and horses that will be racing soon, they will be moving. Now, there's a number of horses we aren't thinking of moving. Timal Houdini right now, I don't think we're planning on moving him. He was having some great success at London. Could we send him to Northfield Park? Yeah, I suppose so. But I'd like to see if Houdini can grow from what he did in London, and the classes at Northfield Park are not going to be kind to him up in that non-winners of 4, non-winners of 5, non-winners of 6, non-winners of so much life. It's going to get really dicey and tough up in there. So I'd rather like to see him stay here for now anyway. As I said, as I'm talking, it's 27 days, 26 days tomorrow when you see this. So that is what is going on at the barn. As I said, I did the 2 videos. I gave you guys a video just talking about me, really talking about where I came from, my childhood, my upbringing, how I got to where I am at thestable.ca, which inadvertently tied into this list as I got a phone call this morning from Minister McLeod. And also, you have an opening video explaining, people would have seen it by now, just explaining what's going on this week. So still lots going on. As far as our racing, it's going to be impacted negatively on a minimal scale. We are going to move some horses out, so that will change their jurisdiction and change their racing schedule. But at the same time, we have a plan in place to attack the next 27 days. So that is, what are we going to call this video? We'll call this video a racing update. A racing update. So hopefully we can have the drone out this Saturday. That'd be cool. I haven't checked the weather yet. I don't know if this phone, if I can get the weather up if the internet's on. Let's see what the weather looks like. Oh, it is going to come up. Or it's not. The plan will be to have the drone this Saturday, but don't hold me to that. It depends what the weather's going to be like. I did wish for snow, I think, inadvertently, and somehow we got it dumped on us. Has to be almost a foot fell since Christmas Eve. So I was at the farm yesterday on Christmas Day, and Mac, the guy who owns the place, was out cleaning the track, making sure it's ready to jog on Saturday. We didn't end up jogging on Saturday or Sunday. We'll be jogging on Monday. A little break for the horses, a little break for our staff, a little break for everybody. I really hope everybody had a great Christmas. I know I did. Everybody's healthy here. The tickle in my throat's gone. I feel great. Going to be a little stressful this week. Wednesday I'm off to the Meadows. I'm going to race our 3 horses at the Meadows and then come directly home. We'll see how that goes. We'll talk to you guys soon. If you have any questions, and a lot of people do, if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call, send me a text message, or email me, and we can talk about whether it be the shutdown, the lockdown of 28 days, whether it be staking, which will be coming up very, very soon, or just horses in general. Happy to hear from you. Take care.